we are back for another round of TPA MRP interviews at PLR Claims Conference. We are excited this time to be joined by Hancock. We have Don and Beth here. They're going to share a little bit about Hancock, what they're all about. We're partnered with Profile Gorilla for all of these. So we are going to start ladies first. Beth, go ahead and introduce yourself and share a little bit about your background and Hancock.
Thanks. So my name's Beth Popkins. I am the Director of Vendor Performance and Operations here at Hancock. I manage all of our vendor relationships across the country for both contractors and our engineering partners. I formerly come from the carrier side, so with 2 Florida-based carriers, managing vendors and claims teams there prior to coming over to Hancock.
Perfect.
Hi, I'm Don Crouch. I've been in the insurance industry for about 20 years now. Started with Travelers, big 10-year Liberty Mutual and American Integrity, and one of the co-founders of Preferred Repair Network, which was acquired by Hancock Claims Consultants about 2 years ago. So excited to be here. Currently, I'm the head of strategy for Hancock.
So share a little bit about Hancock itself, what the company does, your ideal contractors who are in network, who you're serving, all of that.
Excellent. So I'll take this. So Hancock Claims Consultants, we do many different services, starting from the inspection phase all the way through the restoration phase. The key component for this conversation is really around the managed repair side.
Yep.
We have engineers, we have appraisers, we have water mitigation companies, housing companies. We also have full service restoration companies. Our big profile for those types of providers are ones that are not afraid to be challenged, not afraid to have a best in class mentality and work and really demonstrate that you deserve the volume and deserve to service the customers that we do. We grow the network based on performance. We grow the network based on need in the industry.
Okay. So thinking about the claims ecosystem as a whole, what do you view as the number one pain point on the network side of things, or the managed repair program side of things?
On the network side, for us, it's honestly recruiting new providers. There are so many providers out there, but there's a lot of work out there right now.
Yeah.
So, for us being able to identify those providers who want to be partners, Don talked about that best in class model. And for me as a vendor manager, I want to be a partner to my providers just as much as I expect them to be a partner to us.
Sure.
Our clients are, really personal clients to us, and we really value the relationships we have with them. And we want our providers to be happy on the network and enjoy working with us, and thus, pass that service back on to our clients.
Sure. And what do you view as the number one pain point on the contractor side right now?
I think organizing and maintaining all of the requirements across the board for many carriers. I think finding an opportunity to house that in one place, finding an opportunity to make it more accessible to them so that they do the right thing when they're out there. All of our contractors want to do the right thing from the moment they get on site.
Yeah.
It becomes very challenging when you have hundreds of carriers that you're working with and hundreds of opportunities, hundreds of customers. I think that would be one of the biggest challenges that I'm seeing right now.
Sure. So for contractors within your network, what are like the top 3 things that they need to be doing to stay successful with Hancock?
It's a great question. So, maybe we can go back and forth on this one. I'd say one of the main things to be successful is really focus on making sure you're delivering exceptional quality to the customer. Know that when you're out there, you're not only representing your company, but you're also representing Hancock, but also the carrier. So this is every person you touch, you're impacting multiple people's businesses, multiple people's families, and just important to stay focused on that.
Yeah, for me, it would be communication. We are, at least for us, it's really important that we know that there's a lot of things that are outside these contractors' control. Communication with the customer can sometimes be difficult. Getting out there can sometimes be difficult. And so at least for us, we're really preaching to our providers, hey, just document the file. Let us know what's going on. And thus, our carriers are aware, and we are able to have those difficult conversations with the homeowners. And, when I was on the carrier side, one of my former CEOs said, people can handle bad news, but they can't take no news. And so that's really something that I, continue to push through our network is just keep us updated. And we understand there are things, the challenges that you encounter, but document the file and, we'll address it and work with you through it.
Okay. Yes. Perfect. Okay. I want to talk about pricing a little bit. So between Symbility and Xactimate, do you require either of those platforms to be used? Do you allow contractors to come in with good custom price lists? What does that look like?
So we do all of the above.
Okay.
So it depends on a lot of it is dictated by the carrier and how they require to be serviced. However, we do have the opportunity to use Xactimate, use Symbility, or use bid pricing. We can do market value So our contractors have the opportunity to show us and demonstrate what they can do. And we have, a great team that can present that to the carriers on the options. Some carriers want you to go from script. Other carriers say, hey, send me the scope. I'll send it out to 3 contractors. They'll bid on it. We'll give it back to you. We want to be nimble for all carriers.
Okay.
And I think our carriers are looking for great service for their clients. So, I mean, we're very fortunate that we are not working with carriers right now that are solely focused on cost. So, I think if you're getting out there and you're communicating well and you're providing a great product, they're willing to pay a little more for it.
Yeah. So when you look at the claims ecosystem overall, what role do you think managed repair networks, TPAs play in the whole ecosystem as a whole? Why are they important?
Well, I'd say there's a self-serving.
Sure.
Especially,
Okay.
I do believe, from looking at it from a carrier perspective and from a provider perspective, I do believe that managed repair networks are the future. The idea of a singular source to go out to the customer and service as quickly as possible. For years, as from a carrier perspective, I was trying to figure out how to help the customers out at the right time. If you need an adjuster out there, get an adjuster out there. If you need a desk adjuster out there, get a desk adjuster. But ultimately, the managed repair side can go out, do the inspection, send the information back to the adjuster, and in many cases, future, hopefully, start repairing on site. Those are what we strive for. I do think that will be a future version of what it look like, and help customers faster.
I think from my perspective, the CAT piece really comes to mind. We are working right now with a lot of like regional carriers and some state-based carriers. And, the pull or the volume that we're pushing through these contractor relationships on a daily basis is so much higher than, somebody that a state-based carrier could potentially push through. And when that CAT situation comes, it's really about, the daily relationships. And unfortunately, that's how this industry works. But, we are able to make sure that we're mobilizing providers and that we have providers that are able to support them in their time of need.
So when you, sorry. All right. So what are you doing within your network to help retain the contractors that you do get? There is kind of this split right now of contractors going either way between doing program work, not doing program work. So once you have contractors on board, what are you doing to retain them and keep them involved?
So my first move was to hire Beth. Bringing her on was absolutely essential for us. Having the partnership that she brings to us,
Yep.
is critical. That I would say that was my biggest one: finding talent that understands not only the provider side but the carrier side, so they could be the bridge.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So our frontline teams that are managing these files with our providers day in and day out, they actually come from the provider side. So they've been in the shoes of these estimators, these project managers. They really truly understand what is necessary to get the job done, which is a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
We're able to identify, scope creeps and stuff like that, but we're also able to say, okay, yeah, this provider needs this extra support or this extra line item because it makes sense and they've painted the picture for us. So, us really bringing in industry experts, we're not just bringing in customer service reps to, respond to our providers and be our providers' point of contact. They're really industry experts, and that's big for us.
Okay.
I'd say,
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I would say a big component for us is the data that we provide. So a lot of competitors will provide data to the carriers. We actually make available to our providers a substantial amount of information about our network, how they can do better within the industry, how they look relative to the
Their
industry,
peers.
so that they can be up as a class. Give them the answer to the
Yeah.
test. They're going to strive to meet it. So that's one thing that we believe that we bring to the market that maybe others haven't kind of got to that level that at least we like to bring.
Transparency is big. That's a big deal. Ed, do you have anything you want to add in here?
With you guys partnering with Hancock and becoming part of that brand, what are some ways that you feel like sort of Hancock's existing business and partners and footprint solutions will bring benefit to the contractors that you guys had for repair and kind of the joint brand?
So I would say imagine an inspector going out to a loss day one. It's able to call out from the customer's home, tarping company, and a mitigation company, and provide the information back to the carrier that there is or isn't coverage.
Right.
So whereas I think that full service from beginning to end is where we set ourselves apart currently. It's the customer wants mitigation. Well, we have an inspector on site that can say the probability of coverage is
Sure.
X, Y, and Z. Send that to the adjuster to make the decision, and then start the work.
Got it. Makes sense.
Anything else that either of you want to add that we didn't touch on that you think contractors should know, or anybody who's listening should know?
I would just like to say thank you to Ed.
Yeah,
of
It's,
course.
I mean, we started the organization. It was kind of a figuring it out as we go, and you and your organization really helped us
Appreciate
grow,
that.
and I appreciate everything.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Don and Beth, for your time. It was great to meet both of you. Thank you for your insight.
Thank you.